Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. We are meeting after 5 days, I believe, and the last thing that we covered was Allah and messengers, and we did. I think we have completed two passages for Allah and messengers, or three passages. I don't remember. Surah Ma'idah, Surah An'am, and Surah Baqarah. So we have covered three passages of Allah and messengers, and now we are left with two more. So we are beginning with Surah Doha. And then there's one more, I believe, Surah Qasr. And then your second theme, Allah and Messengers, will end, inshallah, today. And we'll begin with Allah and creation, inshallah. So, without any further ado, let's begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Surah Doha. This is I believe 93 is the number of Surah Doha. Wait, we need to start with the main theme. ठीक है जी. So here's the main theme of Surah Duha. Before delving into Surah Duha, are you guys aware of Surah Duha, or have you ever read it? Did you see its translation, or do you know the central idea of Surah Duha? Anyone?
I've heard that it helps with anxiety and depression and stuff.
Exactly. Yes. So you literally answered the main theme of Surah Doha, that it deals with anxiety and depression. So this is also a take-home lesson for us, that if we feel that we are in distress, or if we are in anxiety, or we are suffering from depression, then Surah Doha, we should recite it again and again. We should try to understand its translation and tafsir, or the commentary, because Surah Doha, it was revealed when our Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was facing depression, and he was facing this distress because he was given the revelation right at the age of 40. So it was his first revelation. And then after a long time, during a very long time he spent without revelation being sent, so he thought that he has done something which has caused displeasure to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is why Allah ta'ala is not sending him any other revelation. So Allah ta'ala in Surah Doha, then he revealed Surah Doha, and he comforted Nabi Kareem that Allah ta'ala has not left you. And the main I'll explain the main reason why there was a gap between the second revelation, right after the first revelation. A quick check, that are you guys aware of the first five verses that were revealed on Nabi Kareem as the part of first revelation? Are you guys aware of that surah? No.
No, ma'am.
It was Surah Alaq. Surah Alaq was revealed on Nabi Kareem as his first revelation, because Surah Alaq is also a part of your syllabus. So you need to remember, because the importance of Surah Alaq, one of the importances of Surah Alaq is that it was revealed on Prophet as his first revelation. Okay. So the main theme of Surah Duha is Allah Ta'ala helps those who are in distress, prophets and Muslims. The surah is directed to Prophet, peace be upon him, himself, showing how Allah helped him in this case with shelter, guidance, and independence. He is always present and with them through the hardships they endure, and he supports them. Allah Ta'ala reminds the Prophet, peace be upon him, of the worthlessness of worldly life and the eternal bounties awaiting him in Akhirah. All prophets preferred afterlife over their earthly abode. Special instructions for good treatment of the needy and the poor are also given. Prophet, peace be upon him, is also asked to show gratitude and gratefulness. So basically, we all know that Nabi Kareem was an orphan, and Allah Ta'ala is mentioning that He did not leave him alone in the times when our Nabi Kareem was in dire need of help. Allah Ta'ala provided him with shelter, He provided him with wealth, He provided him with guidance at the age of 40, and He also granted him independence. So Allah Ta'ala always took care of our Nabi Kareem in the times when he was in distress, in the times when he was in need, and in the times when he was poor, and in the times when he did not have parents. So Allah Ta'ala blessed him with shelter, guidance, and independence throughout his life. So Allah Ta'ala basically in Surah Doha is mentioning that Allah Ta'ala never left Nabi Kareem alone. So this is also a take-home lesson for us that we are also the creation of Allah Ta'ala, and Allah Ta'ala is surely never going to leave us in the times of need, in the times of distress, in the times of happiness, in the times of bliss. So we need to constantly remind ourselves that Allah Ta'ala is always going to be with us, and He is always going to support us, and He is always going to fulfill our needs. Then Allah Ta'ala is mentioning that all the prophets that were sent by Allah Ta'ala, they preferred the life hereafter, and they did not prefer this life. This worldly life is completely worthless. And like I mentioned in the previous classes as well, that we need to have a very functional relationship with this world. Like the way we have a functional relationship with the bathroom, we do not spend our entire life in the bathroom, right? We just go there and we come out. We do not tend to stay there for longer times. So this is exactly how our attitude should be when we are living our life in this world. We need to remind ourselves constantly that this life is going to end, and then we'll have our second life, which is going to be permanent, while this life is completely temporary, and whatever it contains, it is completely worthless. And whatever akhira contains, and whatever Jannat contains is completely worthy. And we need to have our amal, we need to have our good deeds, so we can enter in paradise, inshallah. So the and like I also said, that we need to have our prophet as our role models, right? So our role models never considered this world to be a source of hair, to be a source of happiness. They always worked hard, they always did amal in order to get pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, in order to gain good deeds. So we also need to do amal soleh, and we need to also consider that this world is not worthy of our efforts, or of our distress. So we just need to indulge deeply in our affairs that will lead us to success in hereafter. And special instructions for good treatment of the needy and the poor are also given, and it is because our Nabi Kareem was an orphan, right? So we need to be extremely mindful when we are dealing with orphans, and when we are dealing with poor, or when we are dealing with needy. And we need to be extremely humble while we are dealing with them, and we should never show arrogance, or we should never be rude towards them, because this is highly disliked in Islam. And as believers, we need to understand that everyone has a right on us, and each one of us is siblings of one another. So we need to be mindful in our dealings with needy, poor, and orphans, and everyone around us in particular. So, and the last thing is that we need to be gratitude, and we need to have gratitude, and we need to be grateful towards our blessings. So, this is the main theme of Surah Doha. Acha, one more thing that I would like to add, that why was there a huge gap between first revelation and the second revelation was, if you guys have studied that chapter of history and importance of Holy Quran, then we'll also discuss it when we'll go through that chapter. But it is mentioned that when the revelations used to come on Nabi Kareem, then he would experience such conditions like his weight would get doubled. He would precipitate even in the times when it was cold, and he would hear ringing bells when these verses used to come. So Allah Ta'ala was preparing him for this mission to spread Islam, for this mission to accept the guidance, to accept the nur, to accept the light of Quran. Because Quran itself, Allah Ta'ala has revealed it on Nabi Kareem. So it was a challenging task as a human, because Prophet was a human, right? So he experienced those human sensations while receiving those verses. So Allah Ta'ala was giving him time to prepare him for this great mission that he had to lead, that he had to lead for the upcoming 23 years of his life. All right, so now moving towards the importance of Surah Doha. These themes tell humans not to worry when others oppose or hurt you. Why? Because Allah Ta'ala is there to look after our affairs. And a person may think that Allah Ta'ala has deserted him. This is exactly what we feel when something does not go as per our plan, right? We feel that Allah Ta'ala does not listen to our du'as, Allah Ta'ala is not listening to us, Allah Ta'ala is not Allah Ta'ala is not accepting what I have asked and he has left me. Na'uzubillah. So this is not how we should believe. This is not how a believer should behave. A believer should always be assured that Allah Ta'ala is with him and Allah Ta'ala is never going to leave him. Because all the harm and all the blessings and all the happiness and all the calamities, they're all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he's not going to leave you at any point of your life. Yeah, or he does not seem to be there when they go through hard times in their lives. But these themes assure that he is always present and with them. Allah gave blessings to Prophet, peace be upon him, despite people saying that he had been forgotten by Allah Ta'ala. So this was the general behavior of Quraysh, of disbelievers, that they used to make fun of Nabi Kareem. So they said that you have done something which has caused the displeasure of Allah Ta'ala, and Allah Ta'ala is angry from you, or Allah Ta'ala has forgotten you. So these dialogues from these disbelievers, they were a source of distress for our Nabi Kareem. And Muslims should look at their own lives to see their blessings and not think they have been giving nothing. They should not constantly want more than what they have. These themes also encourage people to be kind and compassionate to the vulnerable members of the society. Who are the vulnerable members? We just discussed. Vulnerable members are those whom you can cause harm very easily, right? They could be orphans, they could be someone in need, they could be poor. So basically, they do not have such power to basically endure all those hardships, right? So they are basically the vulnerable members of your society, and we should be extremely mindful when we are dealing with such people, because when because it is said in Urdu के किसी का दिल अगर आपने दुखा दिया है एंड उसके दिल से अगर हाई निकल जाए तो it can be a source of Allah's wrath upon that person जिसने उसको hurt किया हो. ठीक है, so I don't know exactly कि ये उर्दू की saying है या किसकी saying है, but this is very true that we need to be mindful कि जब हम ऐसे लोगों से deal करते हैं, then हम उनकी कभी दिल आजारी ना करें, हम उनका कभी hurt ना करें, हम उनका कभी हक ना मारें. So we should discharge their rights, because if someone is an orphan and we become in charge of their property and we become in charge of their wealth, then we need to release their wealth and we need to give them their property back, once they get mature, once they hit the age of puberty, and once they are mature enough to handle their own matters. So we particularly are discussing orphans in this surah, and we need to be mindful about their rights. And these themes also create appreciation and gratitude in Muslims. So we should always be gratitude for whatever we have instead of looking for what we don't have. And because Allah Ta'ala does not like this attitude of ungratefulness, we should be always grateful towards our blessings and whatever we have. Even if it is less, then we should exhibit this behavior of gratitude, so Allah Ta'ala could increase our blessings. Because gratitude is always going to increase your blessings. It is never going to take away the barakah from your blessings. So far, are we clear on Surah Doha? Can you move on? Have all of you understood?
Yes.
Okay. Now moving towards Surah Qasr. Surah Qasr, it is number of Surah Qasr 108. And the main theme of Surah Qasr is that it was revealed as a consolation to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and foretold the destruction of his opponents. Allah has given Prophet, peace be upon him, Qasr, which has various meanings. Most common is a river in paradise. So this is an important keyword that you need to remember, because this will surely have marks. So you need to add it in your script as well. But also has the meaning of progeny. I'll explain this word in a while. Skip me. Achha. Guidance and abundance, success, and his followers. So these are important keywords that should be in your script while you are answering Surah Qasr, all right? And then Allah commands his followers to pray to him and to show his gratitude to the Prophet, peace be upon him in particular, and Muslims in general are expected to worship Allah Ta'ala and display the spirit of sacrifice, determination, and good character. So, a particular surah was revealed when Prophet, peace be upon him, he had three sons, and originally two sons. Later, he had a son with Maria Kiptia, but that was later on in his life. But with Hazrat Khadija, his second son also died during his infancy. So the opponents of Prophet peace be upon him used to call him Abtar. Abtar is someone with no male son, and male sons are usually considered to be the progeny. They are considered as someone who will carry forward the family name and family legacy and stuff like that. And it was highly appreciated to have sons in Arab community back then due to the age of ignorance. So the reason this was the reason why disbelievers used to call Nabi Karim Akhtar, the one with no male progeny, and they used to make fun of Nabi Karim. So Allah Taala is comforting Nabi Karim in the surah that you will not be left alone. Rather, your opponents, rather those disbelievers who make fun of you, they will be left with no one to call their name. And now see, Hazrat Muhammad is like one of the role models of us, right? So we are there to take his name. We are there to recall his life. We are there to study about him, but his opponents, they do not have any name left in this world. Nobody is recalling them. Nobody is talking about them. But Allah Ta'ala promised that even if you do not have any male progeny, even then your followers will take your name, and this is going to be your success, because Nabi Kareem is Khatamul Nabiyyin, and everyone till Yawm al Qiyamah is going to come under his ummah. So and Allah Ta'ala also granted him abundance in guidance. And last but not the least, that we need to have this spirit of sacrifice for Islam. We need to be determined, and we need to have good character as believers of Islam. So this is the main theme. You need to remember that Nabi Kareem, that the opponents of Nabi Kareem would make fun of Nabi Kareem, and they used to call him Akhtar, the one with no male son. And male sons were extremely significant in Arab communities due to age of ignorance, right? Then the importance of Surah Kausar is these teachings give an insight into how the relationship between Allah and the Prophet, peace be upon him, has lessons for Muslims. Muslims today are that future generation of followers that was given to Prophet, peace be upon him. And so the surah gives hope to people in times of need. So this is exactly what I was talking about, that we like back then we were the future generation of followers, and we are given to Prophet, peace be upon him, and we are his ummati, and we recall him like nobody else, and we do not recall his opponents, we recall our Nabi Kareem, right? So this was the promise that Allah Ta'ala made with Nabi Kareem, that you'll have the whole ummat to recall you, and you'll have the whole ummat to take your name. And then future hope is also given with the promise of the Kausar. So Kausar is basically a river in paradise, and Prophet has been granted that Kausar. And we wish that may Allah Ta'ala also grant us the ability. May Allah Ta'ala also grant us this blessing of Kausar, that we'll be able to drink water with the hands of Nabi Kareem from this river of Kausar. And Allah always intervenes in times of difficulty. So Muslims should always remember to look to Him for help and support, and not feel disheartened in times of difficulty, example during illness or oppression. And Muslims should remain steadfast despite the difficulties or mockeries that they face. Mockeries basically means that when people make fun of us. And even prophets were tested and faced hardships but remained steadfast. So Muslims should not despair of Allah's mercy when facing hardships. So, a practical example of someone who's suffering from oppression are people of Gaza. They are inflicted with those severe oppressions where they do not have anything to eat, they do not have food. Their families have been martyred brutally. So all the images that come from Gaza, and yet those people stand so strong in their iman, that they do not leave the hope, and surely they believe that Allah Ta'ala is with them. They could have easily changed their religion, but they did not change their religion even in such times of difficulty, and they're steadfast with their situation, and They are sure that they'll be blessed with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we need to remember or press into our du'as. They are also our brothers, and because it is already said that when one brother is in difficulty, then all of us should feel the pain of that person, of that believer. So we should definitely feel the pain and the harm that is caused to people of Gaza, and we need to pray for them, and we need to have the solid affirmation that Allah Ta'ala is not going to leave us even in the times of difficulties or even in the times of happiness. And we need to be steadfast in our deen, and we need to be steadfast in our practices of deen. Like we need to be steadfast in praying, we need to be steadfast in fasting, in paying zakat, in doing hajj. And in our firm belief should be on Allah Ta'ala, that He is the only Lord, and we should not associate any partners with Him. So, are we clear so far? Are we clear with Surah Qasr and Surah Doha? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.